to Check Out the Stat by your girl, Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. So before I even get into the show, y'all sending me so many comments and questions about where I've been. Yo, I was at WNBA All-Star Weekend on a brand trip with Jordan, the jump man, and they flew me out. I was there for the weekend doing some WNBA activation stuff. I had a very great weekend, okay, y'all? So for everybody asking me, that's where I was. We will get into that a little bit later into the show when I talk about All-Star Weekend, but just had to let y'all know. And if you don't know, make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at Treasure Wilson. I post updates all the time for everybody who's asking where I've been at. So now y'all know. Okay, so today, obviously, we're going to talk about WNBA All-Star Weekend, and I have a special guest. But first, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy, use code STAT. They'll match your deposit up to $100, and you get a special pick. So let's get into our Underdog Fantasy picks of the day. On September 5th, football season starts. Training camp happened about 2 days ago. I'm excited. So September 5th, we got the Ravens versus the Chiefs. This is going to be a good game. Again, for y'all that got jokes, I am not a Ravens fan. I swear I wore that jersey once, and y'all will not leave me alone. It's still Steelers to the day I die. That was just the jersey that my friend had. So I'm going to clear that up once, and that's all the times I'm going to clear it up. That's it. Okay. So Underdog has Lamar Jackson at 237 and a half passing yards. For Lamar, should be interesting. He's been having a good year. Obviously, we already knew that, but I think he'll be well rested enough to get higher. So I'm going to go higher. Pat Mahomes at 264 and a half passing yards. Again, this is difficult. To me, he starts off a little rough at the beginning of the season. Do I think he'll have higher than 264? Yes, but am I going to go higher? No, I'm going to go lower. And let's see, Travis Kelce is at 72 and a half receiving yards. Travis Kelce got a lot to prove this year, not even just on the field, just because of everything that has been happening off the field. So I think, again, he's going to come out the gate running 72 and a half receiving yards. I think he'll do it. So I'm going to go higher. So today I have a very special guest. She's the undisputed female super featherweight champ. She has a 15-1 record with 7 knockouts. She made her debut back in 2017 and beat Christina, Michaela Mayer, Terry Harper, and the list goes on. Introducing the bomb, Alycia Baumgardner. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling blessed, per usual. Just thankful to see another day.
Yes.
Here for the first PR run, podcast.
Yes.
So excited.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to have you here. I'm happy you had time to make it on this run to come on my show. It's a blessing to have you here. Okay. So I got to ask you right off the bat. So you are a pioneer in women's sports and boxing in general, right? You're doing things that a lot of women are afraid to do. Who was kind of like your role model? What helped you kind of get into this field? Where did that start from?
I would say it started just from my parents instilling what work ethic looks like. My dad has been a big factor of that, and just saying over and over, you have to work for the things that you want. Doesn't matter the gender. If you want it, go get it and keep going until you get it and then some, because the work is never done.
Yeah, period. And that's really good advice, because I think a lot of us just we look at the genders and we get nervous when we see men doing things that we don't see very many women doing. So one, it's very inspiring. I'm giving you your flowers. You deserve that, and keep doing what you're doing. It's a great thing. So were you always athletic growing up? Did you play any other sports? Kind of when did that start?
I would say I was always athletic. My parents knew this one's a little different. She likes sports. Wrestling was my first sport that my dad introduced to me, and I loved it. I loved the competition. I think that just built the confidence in me as a young girl. And then boxing was introduced. Played softball, ran track, did gymnastics. So it was just always an active lifestyle. I'm like, yeah, something's coming from this.
Yeah, so multi-sport athlete. So when did you realize, oh, I can box? I can do this. When did that hit you?
I would say There was a time, I think I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. I just told myself, I don't want to live an average life. I want to be something. And again, I didn't know what that exactly was. My whole goal was like, I'm going to the Olympics. But boxing was just that sport at that time because I started when I was 8. And I'm like, it's going to go.
See, that's crazy. Yeah. And shout out to you. Okay, so let's get into some things, right? So there's been a video posted, you and Clarissa Shields, right? What is your current relationship with her? Like, are you guys still friends? Like, is things still good? Or you feel like there's something going on there? I think that's what people want to know. So I want to ask you that right off the bat.
Listen, the relationship is dead. Okay. There is flat line.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We are in our own lanes, doing our own things. So that's exactly what that looks like.
Okay. And I get it. Like, things happen. And look, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. So I felt that. Okay. So we're going to go back to your fight with Christina, right? So there was little bit of controversy after results said that you tested positive for a banned substance. And she was going around saying that you were a liar, cheater, whole bunch of different things, right? And I know you've seen it like, man, whatever. But you have since been cleared of intentionally taking a banned substance. So I kind of want you to discuss that situation. Did that take a toll on you? Or like, were you like, I know who I am? How did you kind of handle that situation? How did you get out of that and were able to kind of feel like at peace with what was going on around you? Because you know who you are at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you know who you are as an athlete, as a woman, I know who I am. I look at myself daily in the mirror. So again, to say that this had happened, I have to do my job to make sure that things are going to be done right. And that was proving my innocence. And because I did that, I was cleared. I kept my belts. And now we're fighting. So that's all that needs to be said at the end of the day. Was it a toll on my mental? Absolutely. Because again, I'm an athlete growing up. And I never in my life had to get ahead or feel like I had to cheat to have an advance in anything in life because God don't bless that.
Right.
You feel me? And that's just where I'm at with everything. So everything just happened the way it happened. It worked out the way it happened in my favor.
Yes.
And I'm just thankful for that. I'm ready to get back out there and still.
Yeah. So in between, how did you keep your spirits high? Social media, we see how people get, and we'll get into some things, as we continue, but how did you remain positive? What's some advice that you would give to somebody who's going through kind of a hard time when everybody's, I don't want to say against you because that's not the right term, but everybody's saying something about you that is not who you are.
Right. I think it comes a point when your position and where you are in life, right? I'm the undisputed world champion. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people talk about you on a daily basis who don't know you, who know you. And again, it's just important to know who you are. Like social media is just another day to hop on Twitter, get a laugh here, get a laugh there. But I want people to really know that these people don't live your life. They don't they don't get in that ring with you. They don't train with you. They don't do none of that. So like these are bystanders at the end of the day. And your family and your close friends is what matters. So just make sure you have the right people around you who are supporting you. And I have a great family, a great group of friends who just supported me through this whole process and just made sure that I was good, just to make sure that my mental was on straight. Because again, we're all human. We all feel any type of effect sometimes when people do say something. When things are, I'm very defensive. So it's just like, oh, I want to defend myself. But it's like, yo, just chill. Just know who you are and don't only say enough when you have to.
See, that's really good advice. Okay, so we got to talk about some of these haters. First one I'm going to talk about is Ryan Garcia.
Yes.
Ryan got a lot to say. And I know he was saying that he DM'd you. What was that DM that he had sent you initially?
It was just, your typical holla at me type of DM. I'm like, I already know this young boy was just on some immature stuff.
Yes.
So it's just like, I didn't take nothing of it. Ryan Garcia had been on a lot of rants lately with anybody he chose to have on Twitter. And I just happen to be one of those individuals. And I'm just like, again, laugh and get off because I don't take you serious at all.
Okay. And then speaking of his seriousness, I feel like a lot of people are, on different sides on how they feel about him. Are you saying that you would support Ryan Garcia or he's just in his own lane? He got to do his own thing.
Girl, he's in his own lane. Again, like you're going to have to figure that out just like everybody has to figure it out.
Right.
And again, do your own due diligence, do your own reflection.
Right.
Because when you don't do that, then you have problems.
Right.
So
there you have it. Okay. So the World Boxing Council announced your next fight. a mandatory title defense against Delphine Pursoon. Is there a date?
We do got a date. September 27th.
September 27th, y'all. Make sure y'all tap in for this fight because we ready to see. So how are you feeling about this upcoming fight that you got coming up?
Listen, first off, you heard it here first.
Period.
September 27th.
Period.
Okay. And I am so excited. It's been a long time coming. It's been a journey. I'm thankful for all my fans and supporters who've been patient with me. Mm-hmm. You know, when you go to the next level, God's going to sit you down. And again, reflection. It's time to level up. It's time to get rid of things. It's time to really step into that purpose. And that's what I'm doing. I have an assignment. This fight is exciting. Delphine is nobody to look over. She's a veteran in the sport. She's fought many great fighters. And I, Alycia Baumgardner, will be the one to put it down on her. Okay.
And I love the energy that you have. Like, speaking to you is very uplifting. And it's like, it's good to hear. So I got to give you your praise again as well, because a lot of people are saying that you are their favorite fighter of this new generation. What do you think makes you different from these other fighters out here?
I think what makes me different is the confidence. You know, it's not only with how I speak, it's how I walk, it's how I perform. And again, just understanding that it's bigger than boxing. What am I doing outside the ring to help these young girls know that they can do anything that they want, know that they can, you know, do a sport like boxing, do a sport like wrestling. Yes, it's male dominated, but it doesn't matter. Are you good at what you're doing? Do you love it? Do that. And I just think it's just bigger. And I know my purpose can reach a lot of people and just inspire. If I can inspire one person, like, I'm good, because girl, life is hard and life be life, and people need some inspiration.
It do. So how do you relax in between? I know, like, right now you getting geared up, but just in between, what are things that you like to do just to let you chill, vibe, and relax?
I'm scrolling on TikTok. You know, I'm trying to save on some screen time, but I'm definitely on TikTok, relaxing, talking to my sisters, my friends, planning trips. Like, what are we doing after the fight?
Right.
Like, those type things. You know, I love to travel. And I'm a dog mom, so just really chill. I'm very simple, love to eat. So just chill.
Yeah, so fun ones. Okay, what's your favorite dish? And then what's a place that you really want to go to that you haven't visited yet?
My favorite dish. I get that question a lot. I love me some lamb chops. People know.
Okay.
I love me some lamb chops with some mashed potatoes. Yes. Okay. One place I do want to go is Korea or Japan.
Okay, nice.
My grandmother's from there, so I think it would just be something dope just to experience the culture, the people, the food. I love Korean food. So I would say Korean food is like one of my favorite dishes as well.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
I definitely second. I'm going to Tokyo this weekend and I've never been.
Okay.
So I'm like, Japan, like, I'm like,
Tokyo
but after this fight, when you win,
yes,
you could take your little trip, vibe, enjoy. That'll be super fun. Okay, so lastly, what else, well, second to last, can we expect from you next? I know you're gearing up for this fight, but is there anything in the works that you are working on?
Yes, listen, I'm always working inside and outside the ring, but I think a lot of people are just going to see more of who Alycia is and just outside the ring things, you know, have a lot of things working in the process, have a great team. So football season's coming up. I'm going to be touching in the football scene and just being in sports. Like, it's nice to be outside of boxing. Yeah. And I've like always been in this like boxing, but so much more to that. So I'm just excited just to see where we're going, and it's going to be great.
No, that is great. You're diversifying you. You have a lot of personality. People need to see that, and it's looking like they're going to see that even more. So this is great for you. So like my last question, basically, like, my focal point is women empowerment, making sure I'm uplifting women and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be in a sport. Is there any woman in the game who is killing it right now that you want to give a shout out to, who you feel like is doing their thing in anything?
Yeah, I would say all the women. First of all, I just started watching women's basketball. Mm-hmm. And I know Asia Wilson's doing her thing, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Jackie Young. Like, these girls, like, they're just great at what they do, and they're just breaking barriers for themselves, for the sport. And I love that, because women's boxing is kind of similar in a way, where it's like we want the recognition, we want the respect, because we do the same work. We have the same work ethic. And I just love them just to see what they're doing. So really all the women, Sha'Carri, like, girl is killing it. I'm so excited to watch the Olympics. You know, I watched the Netflix series, for the tracks. And oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm inspired. I'm like, can I still do it?
Exactly.
Can I get back on the field, on the track?
Yeah.
But yes, just all the girls, like, that inspired me. They inspire me just because I'm an active athlete, and it's just like I want to better my game each and every time. So yes.
I love to hear it, Alycia. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people follow you and keep up to date with your next fight, what you're doing on a daily? Shout out to your socials.
Yes. So y'all can follow me on Twitter at Alycia Baum, on Instagram at Alycia Baumgardner. Stay tuned because I will be dropping fight news, fight week, what the buildup is, YouTube series, reels, just to really show people, to give like the insight of what camp actually looks like. Like, y'all, we working really hard for one night and to have a great night. So I'll be defending my titles, like I mentioned, September 27th. So stay tuned. The one, the only, the bomb.
There you go. Make sure y'all stay tuned for September 27th. Alycia, it was amazing to have you on the show. Thank you for coming by, and I'm excited to see what you do next.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay, y'all, we're going to go to break, and when we return, we're going to get into some stuff. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now we're going to discuss the big news in the W. So, y'all, like I said earlier in the show, I went to WNBA All-Star Weekend in Phoenix. This was my first All-Star Weekend, and I had a time. Like I said, Jordan Brand flew me out. I'm not getting flown out like Maurice. I got flown out for other reasons. Let's actually roll the clip. I'm going to show you guys what I did over the weekend. Granted, it was a couple days, but this is day one.
Okay, y'all, so let's get ready day 2. So I went to styling, got my makeup done, and I got a red lip to match. Went back to my room, and I had a lovely surprise by Fenty Beauty in Modern Black Girl.
Today, she's going to the mall.
Because of Bailey Jackson Sports.
Got home, and it was time for a special delivery.
Treasure, I got your wardrobe right here.
Thank you. Y'all, I have about 3 outfits. These are the garment bags and all the shoes. How cute. This is what we went with for the game. Love this look. Had to take pictures.
You're getting me right. And look at the views.
Then the sprinter pulled up. There's Nay, Alexis, De'Ara, and Mariah. Then we went to our suite to watch the All-Star game. I was glued to my seats. First of all, Enrique, she was throwing up shot after shot after shot. You know what he said? You know I'm a walking ticket. Shotty is a walking bucket because she just kept throwing it up. Then you got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on the same team. Fire. Jonquel Jones. Fire. Alicia Gray. Fire. Yo, Pitbull was a halftime performance. We became his biggest fans at this point. Okay, so after the game, we had some things planned. So we had to get a little turn up in the suite. Then, of course, Miss Enrique won MVP, and she broke a record by getting 34 points in the All-Star game. She deserved to spot another team, but that's a conversation for another day. Then we left and headed to another club. Because another club. Y'all see the jump man. Fine. And then we left, and we got in the spitter and went back home.
Okay, so as y'all can see, I had a great time. They chose, a select few of women influencers and creators to go on the trip. So obviously we went to the game. That's when the first day they had the skills challenge and the 3-point challenge. This is when Alicia Gray made history by winning both challenges that has never been done before. And she did a phenomenal job. She kept the crowd engaged. She was locked in. So shout out to her. And it was so cool to me seeing all the other WNBA players having so much support for her when she was on the court. Asia Wilson is on the ground recording her, cheering her on. All the other players are sitting on the sidelines. And then just the energy that the W had. Like I said, that was my first All-Star weekend for the WNBA. And it won't be my last. I will definitely be back for the next upcoming years. But if you guys are ever interested in going, I fully support you going. It's a different experience. I had a great time. And Phoenix was great to be in. Okay, so then let's get into the All-Star game. Team WNBA versus Team USA. Team WNBA beat Team USA 117-109. I know when you hear those numbers and you look at the two different teams, that sounds alarming. But I promise you, Team USA has nothing to worry about. First of all, Team WNBA was stacked. We already knew how Enrique was going to play. She's a bomb. She is the bomb. But this is not the first time that Team USA lost, okay? They lost back in 2021 for the Tokyo Olympics. And again, Enrique was the MVP winner for the game then. And now again, so this is not their first rodeo. I just know that it's disappointing for Team USA to lose these games because at the end of the day, they are competitors. When they announced that Team WNBA won, I wish you guys could see the faces that every player, like Asia, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina, like everybody was clearly disappointed because nobody wants to lose. But at the end of the day, the WNBA talent is just unmatched and different from what I've seen in other countries. Not saying that the other girls, not in the US aren't doing their thing because they are, but we just have such a stacked roster. And even our rookies, we had a generational draft class this year, seeing Cameron Brink, seeing Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, seeing Rakia Jackson. We just have a huge roster of talent that is just really good. So for me, it was cool seeing them go head to head. It was super cool for me seeing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese having that chemistry on the same team. Again, Caitlin Clark with the assist, she's going to do it. She's going to throw it up to Angel. Angel going to get it up. They had great chemistry. Hopefully we'll see them as Olympians for the next Olympics. But overall, it was a good game. I know on social media, the reactions are a lot different from what was there, but we want to see a close game. It was a lot more entertaining than the All-Star game that the NBA had earlier in the year. So I was satisfied. I know Team USA was upset, but again, we have nothing to worry about. And then speaking of the halftime performance, Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull had a little performance. I've never been such a big Pitbull fan in my life because at that moment, he was jamming. He had his turn. We were lit to see some Pitbull. So he did his thing. Obviously, Alycia won MVP, like I stated earlier. Well-deserved. She made a WNBA record by having 34 points in the game. She literally had more points than the whole starting lineup combined at 34 points. So shout out to her. She did her thing. I know that there's been a lot of discussion on, whether she should have had a Team USA spot, which to me, there's no doubt that she deserves that spot. But from what I researched prior, I think she had specific reasonings for not being part of Team USA. Either way, she's a phenomenal talent. All those girls are great, and I'm happy to see what they do in the Olympics. And even so, we have nothing to worry about. We've won gold 7 times in a row. I have no doubt that this will be the 8th time that they win. And we just beat Germany 84-57. To me, that's a crazy score. That's the numbers I was expecting from the men's Team USA team, but it doesn't always happen that way. But again, shout out to the women, shout out to the men. Obviously, I'm Team USA going to the Olympics, and I'm hoping that we bring back more gold, but we will see what happens. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to discuss before we wrap this show. So obviously, my show is about women empowerment. We discuss sports and we discuss entertainment, but it would not be right of me to not discuss things happening in the news as of lately. So obviously there's a lot going on, and I'm not going to make this political because I don't care to make it political. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for. The election is on you, and do your research. But what I'm talking about has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with just being a good person. So I'm going to give my rest in peace and give my condolences to the family of Sonia Massey. Do I know this woman? No. But now I know this woman because of her story. So basically, I don't know the exact dates, timeline. I'm sure it happened, about a week ago. She had called a police officer saying that there was an intruder in her home. The police showed up to help her, okay? When he came into her home, the police officer had asked her to get the boiling pot of water off the stove. So she followed his instructions and went to go getting off the stove. Then the police started backing up when she went towards the stove. So she asked, "Where are you going?" Verbatim, he said, "Away from your hot, steaming water," right? So Sonia Massey then responds, "Away from the hot, steaming water? Oh, I'll rebuke you in the name of Jesus." That did not go well with the officer. He then said, and again, y'all know I don't like to curse. I only curse when I'm reading quotes because that is just not me, and I will never change that. But if it's a quote, I'm going to read the quote. After she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," he then responded, "You better fucking not. I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you right now in your fucking face." Massey then replied, I'm sorry. But before she could get out her third, "I'm sorry," she was then shot in the face 3 times. Obviously was a headshot, which is what the officer said, because the other person with him insisted to go get a medical kit. The officer then said, that's a headshot. She's done. And at that point, she was done. And you can, do your own due diligence and do your own research. The footage is out. The body cam footage is out. This is said verbatim because apparently he saw it as a threat that she had the boiling water on the stove. At the end of the day, Sonia Massey is no longer here because she was shot in the face. And yes, I know I'm younger and I may have not been alive to see so many things have happened. But when something bothers me, I am going to speak about it because that's just who I am. She should still be alive. This is something that never should have happened. Obviously, everybody wants to feel protected and safe, especially because in this instance, she called for her own safety to have security, and those two officers came into her own home. Again, she should be alive. She did what was instructed and went to go turn off the pot of boiling water. I don't understand how calling the police for help and turning off a pot of boiling water ends up in your death. That shouldn't happen to anybody. And the thing about this situation that frustrates me the most, because I'm not here to tell you what to believe or what you should think, I leave that to you because as humans, we have different life experiences that take us through different things where we believe different things and understand things differently from other people. But it was the way that he had no remorse after shooting her. After when, other officers came up to the scene, they asked him if he is okay. And you would expect, okay, you did just shoot a woman. I'm assuming you are shooken up. A lot is going through your head. That's, the fact of the matter. He said, she's a fucking crazy bitch. Which to me is like, how can you take somebody's life and then say those words about them and have no remorse? So I don't know what the details of the case are going to be yet. Obviously, a lot is still ongoing, but I think that this is something that should be discussed. And like I said, if it bothers me, I'm going to talk about it. And we should be able to talk about these things. Okay? Like I know sports and politics, they do not have to be together, but that doesn't mean that people can't address things that, affect them. And this is something that has affected a family and is clearly a problem. So I'm hoping that Sonia Massey's family gets justice. And I'm hoping that, all parties involved get, what is deserved after this incident because it shouldn't have happened. And I'm hoping this doesn't continue to happen because clearly it's a problem. So rest in peace to Sonia Massey. Had to bring it up on here. Would love to know you guys' thoughts on the fact of the matter. But overall, wanted to bring awareness to the situation. But I know we're ending it off on a sad note, but that's some food for thought. Would love to continue discussion with you guys. But that is it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stats so we can continue the discussion next week. And maybe your question or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.